Dave Meltzer says he sent an internal memo from Warner Bros. Discovery valuing AEW at over $280 million per year. Speaking of AEW, they're set to go head-to-head with WWE in the same town of Orlando, Florida in December of this year. Jack Perry has unveiled a brand new TNT Championship last night on AEW Collision. The Tag Team Championship picture is now clear for AEW All In with a three-way match set for the titles at Wembley Stadium. Speaking of titles in Wembley Stadium, the Trios Championships are going to be on the line at All In a four-way ladder match. Speaking of tag team titles, we got brand new Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions after Dustin Rhodes and Sammy Guevara were victorious last night on Collision. Julia announces an extended stay in Marigold prior to her imminent WWE arrival. A CMLL Women's World Championship match has been confirmed for AEW All Out. Zack Sabre Jr. is the winner of this year's G1 Climax tournament in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Confirmation when it comes to the WWE Tag Team Championship reign of the Bloodline on SmackDown. Switchblade Jay White is set to return to AEW television soon. And the great Muta says he'd like to see the Nigerian giant Amos in Pro Wrestling Noah. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. Let's begin with the latest when it comes to talks between AEW and Warner Bros. Discovery. Of course, Tony Khan being very optimistic, teasing big announcements. One, of course, was All In Texas, going to be taking place next year at Global Life Field. Some have suggested that the next big announcement from the AEW president and CEO is going to be the announcement of a renewal of the media rights agreement between All Elite Wrestling and Warner Bros. Discovery. But the big question is, when it comes to that, is how much would WBD be willing to pay AEW for the broadcast rights of AEW Dynamite, AEW Collision, Rampage, streaming rights, and much more? Well, according to Dave Meltzer, he posted something quite curious on the F4W message board last night, suggesting that he's seen an internal memo from Warner Bros. Discovery that values AEW quite highly. This is what he had to say, quote, "I saw an internal memo from WBD on the total value of AEW programming. It was $288,265,720 per year based on ad revenue and 2% of TNT carriage rates, 2.5% of TBS carriage rates, and 3% of True TV's carriage rates, and also included purchasing of the pay-per-view franchise. However, it was a pay-per-view model indicated as similar to UFC, still $50 per show. It did list an ROH show as part of the value, a reality show, and Dynamite, Rampage, and Collision and pay-per-views. So it's a lock. Ring of Honor has been talked about and pay-per-view has been talked about. Also, TBS is estimated to make $91 million this year in ad revenue for Dynamite. This is all based on a rating estimate for Ring of Honor and quarter two ratings for the existing shows and 137,500 pay-per-view buys in 2024. Now, what are your thoughts when it comes to that estimate, that story, that suggestion that he has in that internal memo? Do you believe it? Will you believe it when you see it? Let me know your thoughts about it in the comment section below. Now, this is certainly a very interesting story because seemingly for one of the first times, AEW and WWE are going to be running head-to-head, but this time in the same town on the same date. WWE has announced a new live event in Orlando for December 28, the same day as AEW World's End 2024. Tony Khan's promotion will be running its final pay-per-view event of the year from the Edition Financial Arena on December 28. Meanwhile, WWE has announced a WWE Live Holiday Tour show on the same date, just 15 miles away at the Kia Center. Now, this isn't the first nor most significant instance of WWE and AEW booking shows on the same date as one another, with AEW Dynamite Total Tuesday running head-to-head with WWE NXT on October 8. And fans will remember, of course, that NXT used to go head-to-head with Dynamite on Wednesdays every week from October 2019 until April 2021 in what became known as the Wednesday Night War, in reference to the Monday Night Wars of the 1990s. But it is a rare instance for the promotions to run the same city and date. Later this month, both companies will be running major events from Europe. AEW will present its second iteration of what's seemingly becoming its version of WrestleMania, that being All In from Wembley Stadium in London, England, on August 25th. Then on August 31st, WWE will present Bash in Berlin from the Uber Arena in Berlin, Germany, its first premium live event in the country. Given the fact it's a live event running against a pay-per-view, December's convergence stops in Orlando is sure to have no effect, one would think, on AEW's buy rate. However, WWE being in town might see it impact live attendance for World's End. Now, going to AEW Collision last night, we have a brand new version of the TNT Championship. Now, after picking up an easy victory on the show last night, TNT champion Jack Perry continued with a post-match attack before also grabbing an object out of a mysterious bag. Now, as can be seen on the screen right now, the object in the bag was a brand new TNT Championship bout. The new bout has been given a gnarly appearance and makes it look a bit battered and bruised, even though it's a new design. Of course, Perry defends the TNT Championship at AEW All in London against Darby Allin in a coffin match. Now, this is the second title redesign of the past few weeks, as MJF has also turned the International Championship into the American Championship less than a month ago. Now, FTR and The Acclaim will both get an opportunity at the Tag Team Championships at All In. The AEW World Tag Team Championship match at AEW All In 2024 will be contested between 3 teams rather than just 2 after the number 1 contenders match between FTR and The Acclaimed on this week's AEW Collision ended in a 30-minute time limit draw. The teams began to brawl once the match ended, and Tony Schiavone announced on commentary that AEW CEO Tony Khan had declared the Wembley Stadium match a 3-way as the show went off the air. The Acclaimed have been feuding with both FTR and Tag Team Champions the Young Bucks for some time now, having earned a championship match back in June by defeating the Bucks in a Tag Team Title Eliminator. Their shot on the August 14th episode of AEW Dynamite was interrupted by FTR, however, and ended in a disqualification, leading to Saturday's number 1 contenders match. Draw result also means the Acclaimed stay undefeated against FTR, as they also own a victory over Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler from December 2022, shortly after the Acclaimed began their first and thus far only reign as AEW Tag Team Champions. Meanwhile, the Bucks and FTR renew hostilities in a years-long feud that has seen each team rack up 2 wins over the other, all in championship matches. The most recent saw the Young Bucks defeat FTR to win the titles for a record-breaking 3rd time. The one before that was 1 year ago at AEW All In. Now, speaking of titles, speaking of All In, the Trio Championships will be on the line. The road to Wembley Stadium has been a long and winding one for the AEW World Trios Championship, and after there was no winner in last week's number 1 contenders match on AEW Collision, it remained unclear who would challenge the Patriarchy for the Trios bouts at All In this month. On this week's episode, however, all was made clear, at least most. On Saturday night's program, on-screen authority figure Christopher Daniels announced that Christian Cage's constant efforts to avoid defending the Trios titles would now result in a far more difficult defense than usual. The Patriarchy will now defend their championship against both last week's potential contenders, the House of Black and the Bang Bang Gang, in addition to a wildcard team that will be determined on next week's episode of AEW Collision, which will be from Cardiff, Wales. And if that wasn't enough, the title match at Wembley will be a London ladders match. Now, the turmoil surrounding the Trios titles began in April at Dynasty, when the belts were unified with the Ring of Honor 6-man Tag Team Championships, with all 6 belts being held by the Bang Bang Gang. In a Collision taping in July, however, the titles were separated again, and both were vacated after an injury to one of the champions, that being Jay White. On the July 20 episode of Collision, the Patriarchy won the newly deunified Trios belts, and they were reportedly set to defend against Death Triangle at All In before Rey Fenix and Penta El Zero Miedo made it clear that they were leaving for WWE. Supposedly, the match was slated to be a 3-way, but the wildcard team was previously an unknown wrinkle. We'll have to wait and see indeed what happens in that ladder match at AEW All In. Now, speaking of Ring of Honor titles, the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships changed hands last night on AEW Collision. There was a title change last night. After airing a video recap package of the recent Texas alliance of Sammy Guevara and Dustin Rhodes, the pair has now captured Tag Team Gold. AEW star Sammy Guevara made his in-ring return to All Elite Wrestling TV last night for the first time since February of this year. The former TNT champion made his return to Ring of Honor a few weeks ago, but he'd yet to appear on AEW TV. However, that changed last night as Collision aired from Arlington, Texas, featuring 2 Texas natives taking on the Undisputed Kingdom. Sammy Guevara teamed with Dustin Rhodes to take on the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions, Undisputed Kingdom members Matt Taven and Mike Bennett. After interference from Roderick Strong and the Beast Mortos, the conglomeration ran out to give chase, and in the end, the locker room brawl, which also featured Cage of Agony, left up the ramp. Back in the ring, it would end up being Sammy Guevara and Dustin Rhodes who won the Ring of Honor Tag Team titles. We've got brand new champions. Of course, Rhodes is now a double champion. He's also the Ring of Honor World 6-Man Tag Team champions with Ross and Marshall Von Erich. Now, Julia, what's going on with Julia? When is she coming to WWE? Well, it's a tiny bit later than previously thought. WWE recruit Julia will be working her final match with Marigold on August 25th, rather than her previously announced August 19th swan song. The former World of Stardom champion had been linked with WWE for months leading up to her departure from that promotion in March, even appearing ringside at NXT Stand and Deliver during WrestleMania weekend, but would first continued working under Rossi Ogawa for Marigold. Since then, it's been an eagerly anticipated wait for her to finalize the move, with even NXT Women's Champion Roxanne Perez addressing their potential bout recently. It was previously announced that Julia will be working her final singles match for Marigold when she faces Mai Sakurai on August 19 at Korakuen Hall. However, she clarified during a press conference for that bout on August 17th that her final match will occur less than a week later in a special gauntlet pitting each of Marigold's roster against her for a minute at a time. Now, Julia wrestled during Marigold's inaugural show, Fields Forever, in May, but sustained a broken wrist that sidelined her until July. Her comeback match against Suri on July 13 to crown an inaugural Marigold World Champion, losing after 25 minutes of action. She has continued to work Marigold shows in tag matches since, meaning her bout against Sakurai will be her first return to singles action since missing out on the title. Though nothing is officially confirmed on the matter, the reported belief is that Julia may continue to work for Ogawa's promotion while with WWE through the interpromotional partnership that saw Io Sky return to Japan earlier on this year. Now, a match has been confirmed for AEW All Out. On last night's AEW Collision, there were 2 championship matches confirmed for All In as well as All Out. Now, already announced for AEW All In London on the 0-hour pre-show, a mixed tag team match featuring Willow Nightingale teaming up with Tomohiro Ishii to take on rivals Chris Statlander and Stokely Hathaway. However, on last night's Collision, it was announced that the match will have an important future implication as well. In a backstage segment, it was confirmed there will be a CMLL World Women's Championship match at AEW All Out, with Willow Nightingale defending against Chris Statlander. It was also announced that the winner of their mixed tag team match will determine who gets to select the stipulation for the All Out title match. Of course, All Out Chicago is set to follow AEW All In on Saturday, September 7th, 2024. Switching over to New Japan Pro Wrestling, Zack Sabre Jr. is the winner of this year's G1 Climax 34 tournament. On August 18, New Japan Pro Wrestling held the G1 Climax 34 tournament finals with Zack Sabre Jr. facing Yota Tsuji. Both men looked to make history with a victory in the month-long tournament. For Tsuji, he would become the first wrestler to win both the New Japan Cup and the G1 Climax tournaments in one calendar year. Meanwhile, Sabre Jr. would look to become the first British wrestler to win the premier tournament of New Japan Pro Wrestling. In a 31-minute main event contest, Zack Sabre Jr. defeated Yota Tsuji with an arm and leg submission. With his victory, Sabre Jr. becomes the first British competitor to win and only the 4th foreigner to win the G1 Climax tournament since Kenny Omega won back in 2016. He is also only the 2nd since it was officially called the G1 Climax. Now, post-match, Zack Sabre Jr. announced that he will break from tradition and will challenge for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship at King of Pro Wrestling in October instead of January 4, 2025 at Wrestle Kingdom. Now, a bit of a update and confirmation when it comes to the Bloodlines Tag Team Championship reign on SmackDown. Last night at WWE House Show, the championship defense strategy of the Bloodline was revealed as a new combination defended the title, confirming that Tonga Loa is not injured despite his absence from SmackDown Friday. The Bloodline member was in action last night at the WWE House Show and defending a title. At the show in Lakeland, Florida, the Bloodline defended their tag team championships against DIY. However, notably, the duo that was defending the title was Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa, suggesting that the Bloodline tag team titles will be defended by a combination of faction members, also known as the Freebird Rule. While it was Tama Tonga and Jacob Fatu who actually won the WWE Tag Team Championships, it seems that the titles will also be represented by the pair of Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa and possibly other combinations as well. Jacob Fatu made his return to physical action for the first time since SummerSlam on SmackDown on Friday, as he made the difference in the beatdown of Roman Reigns to close the show. A bit of an update when it comes to Jay White, his injury status. Former IWGP World Heavyweight Champion Switchblade Jay White has been out of action for over a month with a reported foot injury that forced the Bang Bang Gang to vacate the AEW World Trios Championships. Fightful Select's Sean Ross Sapp has learned that White is healthy and there are plans for him to return to AEW television soon. White last wrestled on July 6 in a losing effort to Hangman Page in the Owen Hart Foundation tournament. The Bang Bang Gang last defended their unified trios titles at AEW Double or Nothing. White was never expected to be sidelined for very long, and he should be returning imminently. And finally, the great Muta would like to see the Nigerian giant Omos in Pro Wrestling Noah. Now, WWE has been taking part in crossovers with a number of other wrestling promotions in recent months, including TNA, Pro Wrestling Noah, and Marigold, All Japan Pro Wrestling 2. Pro Wrestling Noah is currently in the middle of their annual N1 Victory tournament, with NXT stars Josh Briggs and Tavern Heights taking part in the tournament. Yesterday, Briggs and Heights sat down with the legendary Keiji Muto, where they asked the Hall of Famer which current WWE star he would like to see sent over to Noah. Muto simply replied, Omos. Now, Omos responded to Muta's comments by simply responding, well, with the head explosion emoji. Omos has not competed on WWE television since the April 5th episode of SmackDown when he took part in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. So would you like to see him in Pro Wrestling Noah? Let me know your thoughts about that one as well. But there you go, guys. The latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.